Hello, my foodie best friends. Welcome to my live with Maddie from Maddie's Kitchen. I'm going to get her on the line now, so just stand by. Oops, yes. Hey, Maddie!
Hi! Sorry, let me adjust my camera.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. I'm just going to turn up my volume here. I'm so excited to see
I'm
you.
so excited to see you. Oh my gosh, we're finally like meeting sort of face to face. This is awesome.
Yes. And everybody that just joined, I have Zoe on the line. Go ahead and just tap the heart there, Zoe. She is going to be recording everybody's questions because it's really hard to read and talk at the same time. So if you guys have any questions, she's going to write down everything and we will be able to DM you all the answers afterwards. So hi, everybody. We're so glad you're here. And so Maddie, what are you drinking today?
So tonight I decided that I'm gonna make my version of a hurricane. So it's not quite authentic to the traditional recipe, but instead of ice cubes, I like to use frozen strawberries. So I've got frozen strawberries on deck. I have a little bit of Tito's vodka left. We can tell that this is the only vodka that I will stand behind. I have some grenadine and of course measuring device. We've got passion fruit mixer and orange juice, and we're just gonna put all of those together. I can pop the recipe somewhere later on for more specific measurements, but I'm super excited. How about you? What are you drinking?
I am going to attempt to do, it doesn't even have a name, so you can help me name it here today. I have some strawberry puree I made,
Ooh.
and I have a little bit of matcha that I've already steeped, and I'm gonna whisk it up and then add some almond milk.
Ooh.
And a little bit of agave. So yeah, so let's mix our drinks.
Sweet.
So what kind of, are you blending it up in a blender or?
No, I'm actually just gonna drink it straight out of a glass. So I like to use the strawberries instead of ice cubes because they absorb the booze over time. And then at the end, you get to eat the strawberries and it's like a nice little snack. So I'm really excited about that. I would blend it up, but nah, not today.
Not today. So I went ahead and put my strawberries in here with my ice. And then I'm just going to give my matcha a little, just a little whiskey whisk.
Sweet. I just put my strawberries into the glass and I am measuring out my vodka. Not that measurements are really super important, but do about 2 ounces.
So I'm gonna try to pour. We'll make a mess. I know. Ooh, boy, that looks pretty.
Oh, that does look pretty.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's see how caffeinated I'm going to make myself today. I don't know. Usually I don't like to do caffeine after 2, but
oh yeah.
Today I'm going for it. A little bit of agave.
It's a nice midweek pick-me-up.
Yeah.
Going in with 2 ounces of this passion fruit mixer. And then show you what it looks like. Kind of looks funky right now.
Ooh, jerky. That's pretty.
Thanks, but I'm just gonna fill it up to the top with orange juice. Or not quite the top, we don't want it to spill over, but leave a little bit of room. And then this is my favorite part, so I'll hold it up to the camera for this. So I'm gonna add just a splash of grenadine.
Pretty.
Oh, and spill it on my hand.
That's live TV, folks.
That's showbiz, baby. But yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna just take my little stirrer, give it a little stir. And there we go.
Nice.
There's my hurricane. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. How is it?
It's really good. How's yours?
Delicious. I don't know what to call it. Matcha, strawberry, coconut, almond milk.
Dream.
Dream. There we go. I love it. So, Maddie, I have some questions for you.
I have some answers for you.
I just happened to stumble upon your page during the pandemic, and I think your videos are super adorable. I really like what you're doing on YouTube. If you guys haven't found her YouTube channel, all of you need to go over to her YouTube channel and go check it out because they're super fun videos. But what has been the biggest hurdle you've had to encounter or to get over on social media?
So, first of all, thank you for the compliments. I'm so glad that you stumbled upon my page because it's been so fun to have this little foodie friendship for the last few months. My biggest hurdle has definitely been consistency, because I don't know if you know this, I don't know if some of the people watching know this, I'm actually still in college. I'm going to be graduating in December, so working towards a Bachelor of Arts in Musical Theater, minor in dance, and I work full-time at a creative branding agency called Sisu Group as the social media director. So I like to call myself a wearer of many hats because I'm kind of doing everything all the time. So that makes it a little bit difficult to get into a regular posting schedule. But, you know, once I finish up that degree, hopefully things will get a little bit more regular. But consistency has definitely been the biggest issue for me.
It's hard. It's hard to consistently create content and to get it out there. It's not an easy feat, really. I mean, I totally can understand that hurdle. But what do you envision for the future of your brand and your channel?
So eventually I would love to have like a formal cooking show. I grew up watching Food Network incessantly. If my dad's on the live, he can comment and corroborate this. I would literally get home from school and until dinner time and even after dinner be watching Food Network. So I would like to be on Food Network, but since network television has kind of, you know, changed a lot since then, who's to say what's going to be in the future? So I would like to have a cooking show, whether that's on a TV network or just my own web series, but hyped up a little bit. Who knows? But I would love to make this my full-time gig. It's super fun. It's I don't know. It gives me a different way to spread love to people, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I definitely like the positivity social media can bring. I mean, it does have its pitfalls, but you know, it can really brighten somebody's day without even knowing it. And you know, a little laugh and a little joke can really do a lot for people sometimes.
Definitely.
And so, what was your favorite show that you watched when?
Okay, it's a tie. It's a three-way tie. Okay, so Iron Chef America was one of my favorites for a long time. All of my idols were on there: Kat Cora, Bobby Flay, Masaharu Morimoto, you know. I also loved Good Eats with Alton Brown. I love how he would break down the science behind foods. And that has actually really stuck with me. And then finally, I loved 30-Minute Meals with Rachel Ray. That was my show. I would always tell my parents how I wanted to have a trash bowl so badly because she always kept this little mixing bowl over to the side where she would just chuck her little compost bits. Yeah, those were my favorites.
And you know, that trash bowl technique is something I use all the time in the professional kitchen because sometimes you don't have a can next to you. And when you're chopping really, really fast and you have, you know, you're slicing watermelons and going through all this stuff, I just swoop it into a bowl if there's not a can nearby. And it just makes it so much easier. I love that tip that she gave everybody. It's a great tip.
I agree.
So what is your favorite thing to cook?
So that one's also difficult because it changes so often. But right now, probably omelets. I know that's such a basic answer, but nothing beats a good ham and cheese omelet in the morning, and I have been making them pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks. So that's probably my favorite right now. Usually my favorite is whatever I cooked last. So
You sound like me. I like every food in the world. I don't have anything I dislike. And when people say, "Oh, do you dislike this certain food?" I'm like, "No,
That's
I'll
so
eat
funny. Really? Like
anything."
nothing? There's nothing that you won't eat?
No, there's nothing. There's
I'm
nothing. Like
impressed.
I'll try anything.
I
Really.
love that.
Like I will eat, I will try it at least once. And I do have one food that I think is probably my biggest food hurdle, and that's natto. Have you heard of that?
I haven't. What is that?
It's Japanese fermented soybeans, and you stir it up, it gets really sticky, and it's slightly slimy, and it has a little bit of a strong odor. So, and you eat it over rice with a raw egg over top, and that is probably the only thing I've tried that I'm like, okay, I have to revisit
Definitely.
this
Yeah, I
and
only
eat
made
it
a
a
face
few
because
times.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I only made a face because you said slimy and I'm imagining
Yeah,
like,
it's very slimy.
ooh,
It's very, very slimy. And slimy is a hard one for a lot of people.
it is. I'm very much a texture type person. So I don't know. I feel like that would be a pretty big hurdle for me too. What's the weirdest food that you've eaten? Now that we're on the topic, I'm curious.
Weirdest food. Probably raw chicken. I ate raw chicken in Japan. My friends took me out to a yakitori place, and they were like ordering for me, and all this fast Japanese I couldn't keep up with, and just they were putting dishes and dishes, and I tried this one. It was just slices. It looked a little bit like tuna, and it had some oil drizzled over top and a little bit of probably some green onions, and I thought it was an ahi tuna, and my friends were giggling. They're like, "Oh, it's chicken, raw chicken." And I'm like, "That's good. It was good.
It was good. That was
It
my
was
next
good.
question.
Yes, it was good. It was surprisingly really, really delicious." And
Oh my
I would eat
gosh.
it again. They were like, "It's very, very fresh. You don't have to worry about anything. It's very fresh." So I don't think I would go to my local market and get the 4-day chicken and try it, but I would definitely try it again.
Oh my gosh. I feel like in the right setting, I would absolutely try that. My grocery store is not the right setting.
Yeah, I would not recommend
No.
any local, like, off the shelf and those little packs with the pad underneath it. No, I would not.
No.
No. So, what is your favorite food memory?
Oh my gosh. I have so many, but I think the one that comes to mind is actually, it involves my dad. So, I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and one of the like popular like Southern snacks, delicacies, whatever, is pimento cheese, and it's so good. And I grew up eating it, and it's one of me and my dad's absolute favorite foods. So we decided, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, that we were going to go on a nationwide quest to find the best pimento cheese. So we tried pimento cheese in Los Angeles, California. We tried it in Nashville. We tried it in Roanoke, Virginia, and we tried it everywhere in between. Roanoke, Virginia, which is my parents' hometown. No surprise, they had the winner. And I kind of regret not visiting there the last time that I went to Virginia. But that quest and the ones that he and I have gone after that have probably been my favorite food memories, because it's just so much fun to judge unsuspecting foods, but in a fun way.
Right? So how do you usually eat it? Do you put it on crackers or?
Yeah, we would. So for the most part, when we were trying it, we tried it with crackers. That was usually how it was served. But that was actually one of the criteria, because we did it like we had a full rubric, we had a grading scale, and the like serving, not utensil, but like vehicle, if you will, was one of the criteria that we would judge. And most people did serve it with crackers, which was interesting. We had a couple that were sandwiches. So usually it's like a bread-based thing. And when I eat it personally, I like it with crackers or on bread. Or sometimes just like in a spoon, but you know.
So have you ever made it before? And can you explain to the people out there that maybe haven't heard of this type of cheese?
Yeah, so I've never personally made it, but from my knowledge, it is like usually a cheddar cheese that's like grated, not grated, like shredded, relatively fine. And it's combined with like mayonnaise, pimento peppers, which are, if you're familiar with like stuffed olives with a little red pepper in them, that's usually a pimento. So it's those little peppers. Sometimes people will put like buffalo sauce in it, which is wrong. And if anyone tells you that that is the way to make it, run.
Run.
And yeah, that's really the main ingredients. It's cheese, mayo, and pimento peppers, which sounds like a weird combination, is a weird combination, and works beautifully.
It does. And if any of you guys out there haven't tried this cheese, try to find it. It's really worth it. It has a lot of flavor. You wouldn't think it would. It has a nice silky texture. I really like that. It's kind of up there with like port wine cheese with me.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried port wine on crackers? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Similar. It's also similar to like a cheese slaw, which may be even more southern. But if that rings a bell with anybody, cheese slaw is basically like pimento cheese, but it's made with a white cheese and like jalapeno peppers and mayo. So it's a little spicier, equally as good. But it's just like a nice, like chunky, like dip.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever had that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make that then because I need everyone to experience cheese slaw.
Yeah, maybe that could be your next video because I never experienced cheese slaw.
I'm making it happen.
And do you eat it with bread and crackers or like in a bread bowl or?
Yeah, I've seen it as like bread and crackers or like a vegetable dip, which people do that with pimento cheese as well, like dip celery or baby carrots. Yeah, that's probably like Ritz crackers especially are good with it because you got the like flakiness of the cracker. Oh, it's so good. I'll have to make that. This is great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
It's so good. Yeah, I can't wait.
So, okay, so I have a question. If you could have dinner with anybody, living, dead, fictional, who would you want to sit down with and just be able to spend 2 hours together?
So this is going to be pretty cheesy, but I'm going to have to say my Nana, and I have specific reasons for that. She passed away when I was 5 years old, but she was like, when I got to see her, we were besties. So I've always had this like connection with her, even though I haven't gotten to know her. And so recently, over the pandemic, I've gotten really interested in collecting vintage cookware and dishware. And so actually, when we went to Virginia, I found out that my Nana herself also collected vintage dishware and cookware. So that, full circle, when I got back here, I was like looking at my dishes that I have out, and I was like, you know what? I would love for her to be able to come here and see this, and to be able to try my food. She would probably not think that there was enough sugar in it. Oh my gosh, when she made stuff, it was just absolutely the sweetest thing. It was so good, but it was so sweet. But I would love to show her my chops.
So do you have like a specific dish that your grandmother would make that when you eat it, it kind of always brings back a little food memory or?
So sadly, I was a little bit too young to really remember her foods that well. So most of my food memories from her are from like retellings. Because my grandmom, who is her daughter, doesn't really cook very much anymore and hasn't really my whole life either. So I kind of missed the boat on that front. But as soon as I can get my hands on some of her recipes, I will be trying them. But my grandmom did make a kick-ass meatloaf when I was growing up, so meatloaf does remind me of childhood. But as far as Nana's recipes, nothing super comes to mind, but I'm hoping to dig into some at some point.
That's really such a sweet story. So the cookware you collected, did you like grab it from vintage stores or where did you find it?
Yeah, so it actually happened like really fast and kind of out of nowhere. I saw a picture of Martha Stewart's jadeite collection. One moment. So jadeite is this like green milk glass from like the 1910s through like 50s. And I saw she has this like absolute shelf, just a wall like full of this. And I was like, that is the prettiest thing I've ever seen, and I need it in my home now. So I started like scouring estate sale websites and like eBay and everything, and like really started diving into the world of vintage cookware. So it started with jadeite, and it has ended up with me having an Etsy store now where I resell antiques. So it snowballed really quickly. But I like to think Nana would be proud, and I think she would like these.
So you have an Etsy shop?
I do. It's called
What?
Maddie's Vintage Kitchen, and it's actually linked in my link tree, which is in the bio of my Instagram. This was not meant to be a plug for my store. I don't do it for the money, but it's really, really fun. It gives me a little outlet to like really do a deep dive on dishes and learn a lot of things that most people wouldn't find interesting, but a little niche of the world does, and that little niche is really fun.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't realize that you were doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very new development, but it's been very fun so far.
Well, that's exciting. And what's like the weirdest thing you found when you were out?
Oh my gosh. Actually, if I knew where it was off of the bat, I would go grab it. But probably the weirdest thing that I've found so far is actually listed on my Etsy shop. I found 2 Pyrex escargot dishes from like I think it was like the 1950s or 60s with the original labels on them. So they're these little glass dishes about like 6 inches by 6 inches, and they have these little holes. And I thought it was a deviled egg plate to like, or maybe like for baking eggs, like put them on there. And apparently you can use it for that, but its original intent was for snails. So it was like, this is really weird, but really cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen an escargot plate. So that's probably the weirdest and maybe my favorite so far.
Yeah, that's really, I don't think I've ever seen an escargot plate.
I wish I knew where, I should have thought to grab them before this. Darn.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm kind of taking you out of left field.
No. Oh my gosh, no.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, you know, I've had like a super, super great time chatting with you. And we should have another live and we could talk about vintage cookware.
Yes, please. Oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
That would be fun. Let's do that. Let's plan on that.
Definitely. I'd love to.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody that joined, and this is going to be downloaded on my IGTV, so it can be listened to it again and again. And we hope to have Maddie back with her vintage cookware.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everybody who tuned in.
Welcome, and cheers.
Oh my gosh, yes, cheers.
Cheers. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye everybody.
Bye.